rights versus duties. We all come across a number of individuals in our life who are very conscious about their rights. During any discussion, they would like to support their behavior, quoting their right to freedom of expression or their right to freedom of speech or even their right to live their life the way they want. It is worth noting that rights are solely a form of personal entitlement granted by the constitution of that country where you are staying. One must remember that individuals have a reciprocal obligation also to respect the rights of others if they expect to have their own rights respected in turn. If your neighbor feels that he has the right to play loud music till middle of the night to celebrate the birthday of his son, he must also realize that you too have the right to sleep peacefully without any unnecessary noise. If I have the right to speak anything in my organization or a residential society where I stay, I must understand that it is my duty that I don't hurt anyone. Even while discharging my official duties, if I have to issue some instructions that may not be liked by the majority, I can always use an appropriate language in such a way that it doesn't disturb the harmony of that particular organization. And everyone understands that it is ultimately for the good of that organization. Similarly, the right to religious expression is also quoted at a number of places. This right ensures that members of religious minorities are protected from interference in the exercise of their religious freedom. At the same time, it means that they must also display their duty not to denigrate the religion of the majority. That's also very, very important. People must show the tolerance when it comes to religious practices too, when they differ from their own. It is very important that when we ask for our right to worship the way we want, we must also take into consideration our duty that it doesn't disturb the community in general. Human beings are social animals. The system of our social organizations give equal priority to both the community and the individual. It tends to emphasize the dual nature of rights as both freedoms and duties. Any society as a whole can progress only when everyone fulfills his or her obligations to the fellow citizens. In a progressive society, we acquire the ability to exercise our rights only when we learn to respect the rights of the others. If, while exercising my right, it clashes with the right of a fellow citizen, we should immediately think of our duty to the society, community, and the country we live in. The famous Indian poet C. Subramanyam Bharati, he wrote, "It is a right and duty of the wise ones to purify the strong by teaching them their duties and to strengthen the weak by teaching them their rights." Wow, what a beautiful statement. That you teach the duties to the strong ones and to teach the rights to those who are weak in the society. Wow. At times, the human rights activists go out of the way to plead and protest for the terrorists and Naxalites when they get killed by the police or armed forces. They forget the gruesome killings of children, ladies, and anyone else who comes in their way. How can such people who have no respect for the law of land expect mercy from the legal system of that particular country? They just can't expect any mercy. A statement by Indira Gandhi, the ex-Prime Minister of India. She said, "People tend to forget their duties, but just remember their rights." Fundamental rights are rights and freedoms granted by the Constitution and therefore have a legal sanction and are enforceable through a court of law. Similarly, there are fundamental duties, basically a responsibility bestowed on us as citizens of the country, and we are expected to perform them as good citizens. Thus, the primary difference between our fundamental right and fundamental duty is that fundamental right is based on the privileges granted to us by the Constitution where we live, whereas the fundamental duty is based on accountability as a good citizen or as a good human being. John F. Kennedy, the ex-president of USA, he used to say about the rights of citizens. He said, "Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country." Wow. That is what is required. That we should not be asking too much from our country all the time. On the other hand, we should think what we can contribute to our country. I have a feeling that our politicians talk a lot about their rights, and I have never seen them talking about their duties. You may have heard politicians instigating their followers and the general public to fight for their rights in the name of caste, subcaste, religion, language, or any other excuse. Have you ever heard these politicians anytime, anywhere telling their followers about their duties towards the society and the nation? Do these politicians themselves demonstrate their duties as members of parliament or members of the legislative assemblies? The answer is clear: no. They have always bothered about their own rights, their own paths, and their own luxuries, and forgot about their duties towards the nation where they are living. And they forget to perform their duties as well. Our politicians are our elected leaders, and therefore should demonstrate that they follow their own duties in an exemplary manner, and also emphasize to their followers about the duties they must perform instead of harping about the rights all the time. It is a must that we are aware of our rights, but it is much more important that we carry out our fundamental duties fully well so that the society as a whole gets benefited. Some of our fundamental duties include educating and nurturing our children, due care for the aged, respect for the ladies, and support for the handicapped. Other duties include payment of taxes, adherence to traffic rules, throwing the litter in the dustbin only. Evasion of fundamental duties by the citizens cause chaos in the community. One of the reasons for our dirty surroundings is that we are careless and not carrying our duty properly in this regard. Isn't it our duty to use electricity judiciously? Isn't it our duty to conserve water, plant trees, and not cause pollution as responsible citizens of this world? In India, we crave all the time for our rights. When it comes to our duties, we are reasonably good as far as our duties towards our families are concerned. Almost all the parents sacrifice their own comfort, time, energy, and everything to bring up their children in the best possible manner. We in India have a very good culture of looking after our old parents also to a large extent. Most of us think this as our noble duty to serve our parents. My friend Suresh Adina gave me excellent inputs that in the name of our personal rights, some of us believe that we have a right to stay up late, consume alcohol, not exercise, eat the junk food of our choice, even if it is harmful to our body. We forget that we have a duty to take care of this beautiful body also that God has given to us. We have the responsibility to give it proper nourishment in the form of nutritious food, proper rest through timely sleep and relaxation, right utilization through activities, work, exercise, and finally, mental health through management of our emotions and stress. Many of us are clueless and careless when it comes to our duties towards our society, our community, our city, and our country. We keep our house clean, but throw the litter on the road through the window. One may have noticed that we talk a lot about respecting the ladies, but when it comes to even offering a seat to an elderly lady in the train or in a bus, we just try to evade. Maybe we have not been educated properly about our duties from our childhood. There is a greater need for teaching our children about our duties in our school, in our society, and in fact, anywhere. And the duty of the elders is to set such examples for our children. If we want to have a society where everyone knows his or her rights, but respects the rights of others too, and perform his or her duties also, all the time, everywhere. And that is what I wanted to talk about. Your duties versus your rights. Yes, I agree that you must have rights, but you must perform your duties also. Thank you.